Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about A/B testing. This is one of my favorite topics in this program. It's the scenario when we don't have a historical data to use in order to build a predictive model. So we need to run experiment and create our own data and compare it to the current business practice or scenario. You will learn a few new things here. Also, the project will be something new to you, I believe. You may find it challenging a little bit, but remember that I'm here for any question you have. So, in A/B testing, we have two types or two methods to apply. We have randomized design test and matched pair design test. Today we will talk about the randomized type, and during the next session or webinar, we will talk about matched pair type. In this session, we will use the same dataset in the learning videos. So we have this dataset. Let me go to Alteryx, which is about the grocery website A/B test. The business problem here is that we have a grocery store chain that trying to motivate its customers to download their mobile application and register for their loyalty program. The company didn't get a very good result or click-through rate from the current web page or current company website. So they decided to create a new web page and run A/B test to see if the new web page or a new website attract more customers to download the application. So after they ran the test, the company collected, or the grocery store chain collected, this data during the test period. We have IP address. You can see it here. We have IP address. We have logged in flag if the customer has an account, already an account and logged in. Server ID. I believe one is for the treatment group, or we can say for the customers that saw the new web page, while server number 2 and 3 is for the control group or for the customers saw the old web page. Then we have a visit page flag, which shows if the customers clicked on the link to see the loyalty program or download the app. This is the field that shows us the result of the test. So what do we need to do here is to prepare this dataset and analyze the test result. Before we start, let us remember a few rules about A/B testing. First, unit of diversion, how we assign units to treatment or controls, or the level we need to use to split our data. In our dataset or in our scenario, unit of diversion is the IP address, which represent every customer. So our data set should be on IP address level or customer level. So we need one row for each IP address. Population, all the visitors to the company website that didn't download the application, this is our population. So we need to make sure to take out all the customers that logged in or already have an account. duration, full cycle of whatever we are trying to test. So this should be already covered here. We don't have to discuss it since the test has already taken place. Size, also we don't need to discuss it, the same reason. So now we have a good idea about what we need to do. We are trying to build a dataset that contains one record for each customer or IP address. And with customers that doesn't have an account already. So let us get started. Let's prepare this data for analysis according to these criteria. Okay, as usual, use select tool to modify data type if needed. So let me go and drag select. Okay, so this is CSV file or the data type is string. So record ID, I don't really need this field, so I'm gonna uncheck it. IP address, it's okay. Logged in flag. This one contains only two values, ones and zeros, so I'm gonna change it to integer. Okay. Anyhow, I know about this data, but if we need to check it, we can always use field summary tool to check if we have the right information. So let me run it again. So logged in flag, see, only two values. So integer server ID, I have three values, and visit flag ID, zeros and ones. So now I have a clear idea about the fields in this data set. So this one integer, this one server ID. I can use integer and I can leave it as it is. I'm gonna leave it for now. Visit page flag, also integer, zeros and ones. So now I have the correct data type for each field. I can start preparing my data. I'm gonna start with this field. Take a look at this field. We have three unique values, 1, 2, and 3. 1 for treatment group and 2 and 3 for control group. And for our analysis, remember, we only need to know which customers belong to the treatment group and which ones belong to the control group. So I don't need three values here. I only need two values, whether it's belong to the treatment or to the control groups. So I can modify it by using formula tool. I'm gonna modify the same column. I'm not gonna add a new column here. So data type, yes, string, it's okay. So I'm gonna use if formula. If server ID equal to 1, so I need to put treatment. Otherwise, which is 2 or 3, I'm gonna put control. So let me run it. Always check your output. Okay, we're good. Now, Remember, we need only one record for each IP address or customer. So we need to check if we have any duplicate records on the IP address level. So we can use summarize tool or we can use unique tool. I believe we used unique tool before and you know how to use it. So I'm going to use this one. I need to check the IP address. So let me run it. Okay, unique records and duplicate records. Oops, we have too many. We have many reasons for this duplication. It could be because the customer looked in more than one time, one using his account and one as visitor, and maybe let me see, yeah. Also, maybe the customer use more than one server. So once on the control group or server, and once on the treatment server. Also, maybe the customer clicked on the link more than once. Maybe clicked, maybe not, didn't click. So to eliminate the duplicate, we will work on each case. Let me start with the visit page flag. So 0 for not clicking on the link to download the app, and 1 for visiting the page to download the app. So if we summon this field, we will get 1 or more if the customer clicked on the link at least for one time, and we will get 0 if the customer never clicked on the link. So let me add summarize tool. Over here. So I'm gonna group by the first 3 columns, and I'm gonna sum this one, but I don't want to rename the field, so I'm gonna keep the same name. Let me run it now. Oh, you know what? I can use another summary tool. Let me show you how over here. So I'm gonna group by the sum field. I'm gonna count the IP address. Now we can see how many customers clicked on the link once or twice or 3 times or whatever. So let me run it again. See, we did the group, depend on the first 3 fields and sum this one. And here we can see, for example, we have 9,000 something clicked on the link once. Twice we have these numbers. Okay. But it doesn't really matter if the customer visit the page 1 time or 4 times. All I need to know in this case is if the customer visited the page or not. So I'm gonna use another formula tool. Let me use another formula tool to modify this field. So I need only 0 or 1. So I'm gonna use another if formula. So if visit more than 0, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then actually I need 1. Otherwise, I'm gonna get 0. Again, always check your formula. So let me check again. Summarize. Just group by this one. Okay. I only have zeros and ones. Okay, we're good. So now I have a server field, server ID field with only 2 values, and visit page flag with only 2 values. Let me check again if we still have duplicate records. So unique tool over here, IP address. Let me run it again. Oops, we still have a lot of them. So we have two scenarios here. We dealt with this case, so now we have logged in flag and server ID. So either we have IP address used both the treatment and control servers, which will be a problem because remember, the unit of diversion in our case is the IP address or the customer. So we cannot have such a case that the same customer visited both web pages. So this is going to be a problem for us. The other scenario is that we have IP address or customer with logged in record and without logged in record. Or let's say we have customers that logged in as a user and as a visitors. So let us check both cases. We can do that in different ways. I'm gonna show you one way. I can add summarize tool. Oh, not here. So IP address, I'm gonna check the server ID first. So I can group by these two fields. And then I'm gonna add another summarize tool. IP address and logged in. Also group by. So I can use count. I can add count here and find any count more than one to see the duplicate, or I can use the unique tool to check the IP address if I have more than one record. So I'm going to use the unique tool and add it here, IP address, and over here also IP address. Let me run it again. So for this one, which is IP address and server ID, unique duplicate. So we don't have IP address used more than one server, which is a good news for us. But what about the other case? We should have duplicate records here. So yep, we have customers that visited the page as account holders and as a visitors. So we have a problem here. Let me tell you why. Quick note here. In the learning material or videos, they didn't discuss this case. They just simply deleted the records with the logged in flag 1. So they used filter tool to take out all the records with one value. But If we do that, we will keep those duplicate records which belong to the customers that already has an account, and this is not very accurate, because let me see how many we have. A lot. We have 250 records, about 250 records. So the best thing to do is to take out these records. But I believe in this case, leaving them is not gonna affect our final result. But you should know how to think and discuss this issue or scenario. Anyway, so anyhow, I will remove all the records belong to these customers. We can do that by using join and or we can use it. We can use the summary tool itself. I can simply modify this group by let me see, to max. So for the duplicate records, I will get only the one that has 1 as a value, and I'm gonna take out the one that has 0 value. But I need to make sure to use the same name, or otherwise I'm gonna have an error here. So I'm gonna rename this field again. Let me run the model now. We shouldn't get any duplicate records. So let me see, no duplicates records. Duplicate records, sorry. So now what I need to do is to filter out the IP address that has an account. You can use filter tool. Login flag doesn't equal to 1. Again, so on the T output, we have logged in flag all zeros, while here it should be ones. Yep, we're good. So now we have a clean dataset, contains only one record for each IP address, and it doesn't contain any customers that already downloaded the app or have an account. So now the analysis part. What do I need to do is to analyze our result, or to see if there is a difference between the old page and the new old web page, sorry, and the new web page, or if the new web page has attracted more customers. But first, we need to make sure that whatever result we have, this result didn't happen by a chance, or it wasn't just a random result. To check that and to make sure that our result is statistically significant, we can use the test of means tool. In predictive group, we can test of means to the T output. Let me do the configuration here, and I'm going to explain about this tool later on. So response field, I need to check the visit page flag, and my group ID identifier is the server ID, treatment, and control. Okay, let me add after report. Okay, let me see. See, treatment versus control. We have the statistic, degree of freedom, and p-value. This is the important value we need to check. So let me tell you about this tool. This tool calculates the means of the two groups, in our case, treatment and control groups, and give us the p-value as we can see here. If the p-value is less than 0.05, then we can say that the two groups has a different means and it didn't happen by chance or randomly. But if the p-value is more than 0.05, then it's likely that the means are the same and there is not much difference between the treatment and the control groups. If you remember, it's like using the p-value with the what was it, the linear regression. So in our case, we have very small p-value. It's almost zero. So that means that the result is statistically significant and the two means for treatment and control groups are not likely to be the same. So we can go on from here and calculate the difference and compare the results between the old and the new web page. We can simply use summarize tool, transform. So remember, what do I need to calculate is the click-through rate or the visit page flag per treatment and control. So I'm gonna group by those two. And I'm gonna count any field here, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna count IP address. So let me run it. Now this is the total of customers that uh, click on the link or didn't click on the link for the control and the treatment groups. If I need better layout, let's say, and I need to include percentage, I can use crosstab tool. I'm gonna put the server ID as a row, and for the column, I'm gonna use visit page and count. Sum or average, it doesn't matter, and I'm gonna add percent row. So let me run it again. Okay. So now we have our report about the A/B test. So this is the current web page or the old web page. We can see that 18 or 19% of the customer clicked on the link and downloaded the app, while for the new web page, 23% of the customers clicked on the link or downloaded the app. So we have a better result for the new web page. We can say we have an increase by 4 or 5%, and we should recommend the company or the grocery store chain to use the new web page because we can attract more customer by using the new web page. I want to compare something here. Remember when we used Max to eliminate the duplicate in the logged in flag? Let me try to use group by instead of Max. But let me take the values here. So let me add a comment. Okay. I only need 3 digits. So let me use group by and run it again. Okay, I don't think we have chain. 18595, 18593 is very small difference. What about this? 23, 286, 23, 254. It's very small difference. So as I said before, I don't believe it's gonna have a big impact whether we keep the duplicate records or not. But again, it's better to exclude these records. So again, I'm gonna use Max here and rename this field. Run it for the last time. So this should be the result of the A/B test. So we're done for today. Our session has ended. Let me stop broadcasting and take your questions if you have any. So be ready to ask.